there's another industrial revolution going on within the food industry, right? You know, California has a great history, a very rich history of really seeding some great restaurants. We've seen Taco Bell, McDonald's, you know, my favorite restaurant and favorite client, Cheesecake Factory, Del Taco, on and on and on. And, you know, a lot of those restaurants started up as, you know, and specifically, like, for example, McDonald's, which applies to today in the ghost kitchens, is where people were looking, you know, to at least one day a week now to get away from their kitchens, to do something that was fun with the family, that was easy, where they didn't have to spend, you know, a half a day making a Sunday dinner, or, you know, an entire day preparing a meal, which I know a lot of our aunties and uncles, you know, still do that, right? But they didn't want to really kind of be slave to the kitchen, because we had gone through this period of prosperity back in the, you know, in the 40s and the 50s, where we were seeing people have a lot more spendable cash, and, you know, why not get in the car and drive somewhere? So we start seeing, you know, on the turnpikes, on the highways, when we had asphalt, you know, we went from the horse and carriage or buggy days to the cars, you know, the Model T. Then we got into the family wagon, right? The station wagon that could load a lot of picnic stuff in the back, and you know, pillows and so forth, so that they could stay at motels or do a day trip somewhere. But along the way, one thing that happened when food couldn't be really preserved that well in a car is that they had all these interstitial stops, you know, that were interesting places. That it was both a gas station, it was a you know, recreation park, you know, amusement park, and, you know, an entire ecosystem was built on the traveler, you know, where they could drive into a restaurant and, you know, somebody on a skates, or just walk into, you know, call by microphone, call up on a restaurant. So the convenience of the delivery of food has always been a top of mind. And so we've seen a trend where, you know, back, you know, prior to COVID-19, we saw that in trying to connect the dots, we saw that there was a greater generation of people, primarily millennials, who were the biggest users of apps. You know, we talked about, you know, Yelp, which is another California company, using Groupon to buy deals, or Living Social. We saw them, you know, using the convenience and getting a good deal to have more meals out, quite frankly, and more meals out while they're doing something fun. And so what happened was technology became a very essential and a core part of how a business was going to function, whether you be a retailer or a restaurant. And the restaurant got affected the most. And so you saw the birth of companies like Groupon, DoorDash, Postmates, you know, the acquisition of, and the merger of different companies like Uber Eats, Caviar, etc. And so what that really meant was the market saw that there was an increase in need, or increasing greed for, you know, consumption of food, not just, you know, as a drive-through, but to be delivered to them. Because, you know, I could tell you a quick story. I have a neighbor, and basically she's an avid Amazon buyer. And one day I went to drop off something for her, and in this box that was open was one tomato at her doorstep, and it had Amazon Prime on it. I said, okay, maybe somebody, a neighbor or a relative, left this tomato at a doorstep, but the reality is that, you know, it was in an Amazon box. So I was curious when I spoke to her next time, I said, hey, who's so nice that they would drive all the way to deliver one tomato for you? And she said, well, Amazon Prime. I said, what? One tomato? You order one tomato, not a meal, not a whole bag of groceries? He said, why? He said, by the time I get out of my office and drive down to the supermarket, wait and, you know, look for the tomato, a good tomato, then actually go and pay for it, get back in the car, come home, I'm too tired to cook. And I just wanted a simple salad. So as I walk up to my door, I have this coupon. I can get a tomato delivered for $2 when it would have cost me a whole lot more of my time to go ahead and drive to get it and then prepare it. And so we're seeing that evolution of how Blue Apron and, you know, the DoorDashes of the world have evolved, because people are looking at the cost of their time. And, you know, is it really just convenience? Well, it could be convenience, but a lot of people who are home-based don't have a lot of time to, you know, get up and go and do things and go out. So they, you know, look, it's a non-essential thing. If it's In-N-Out Burger, or it's a Burger King, or if it's a fast food thing, we already know it's a predictable product, right? The food quality is consistent. We know how much it's going to cost. We know what we're going to get with it. We know if we're going to be satisfied with it or not. And so we go ahead and get it. So now we've evolved into having where it's not just the home cooked meat. It's not just the the prepared boxes, but we're seeing restaurant quality food being delivered in the same way you would get an Amazon Prime box being delivered to you. So the evolution is very strong, but I don't believe it's going to overwhelm or take over the entire restaurant industry. It's just,
Right.
as humans, we can't. We're attached to our experiences.